lineup tonight. He had an MRI on his knee. It showed that it was just a bruise. So that's good news. He is day-to-day. Ubaldo Jimenez on the hill for Colorado, looking for his 10th win of the season. Everybody, I'm Tom Helmer. Glad to have you with us here at Coors Field. Rockies hit a little bump in the road last night as they fell to Pittsburgh in the first game of this series. They'll try and get back on track tonight and hold their lead in the National League wild card race. Right now, let's turn things over to Drew Goodman and Jeff Houston because we're ready for Rockies baseball.
We are ready for Rockies baseball, and tonight from the Mile High City, the Rockies continue this series with the Pittsburgh Pirates. After taking 3 of 4 from the Chicago Cubs, the Rockies stubbed their foot last night. They lost 7-3 to the Pirates, but Colorado still in first place in the wild card. They're 11 games north of 500. Welcome, everybody. Good evening. I'm Drew Goodman. Last night, just not the Rockies' night. Yoeli Chacin got his first career start and struggled with fastball command. He ended up walking 6 in less than 3 innings. Josh Fogg really picked up the bullpen, going almost 5 innings and keeping things in line down there. Let me bring in my partner. And Jeff Houston, I begin tonight not only with Josh Fogg, but Yoeli Chacin. He's a guy that they love. He's going to be a terrific pitcher. Stubbed his toe last night, but because they used Fogg and they used Chacin, they had to make a move today.
Well, they had to, because you look at what they were able to do last night with those two guys. It was 7 innings. Both of those guys are kind of their long man, so what they had to do, they had to send Chacin out, call up Adam Eaton. It was really not because of what he did in the ball game. Yeah, the 6 walks, but that really wasn't the cause of that. Adam Eaton needed to come up to be that insurance policy in case something happens tonight with Ubaldo Jimenez. Say back to the game the other day, Tom Gorzelani in the second inning gets hit by a pitch. What happens? He has to come out of the ball game. Hit by a batted ball. Let's hope that doesn't happen tonight, but if it does, you need to have some protection back there, a backup plan to go out there and have somebody down in the bullpen. The second thing is, think about Aaron Cook. He's starting on Saturday. What happens if he comes in on Friday, says, you know what, the toe still not quite there. They're going to need a starter for Saturday. So there's a myriad of reasons why they did it, and that's why they had to go down and get Adam Eaton, bring him up here really for an insurance policy.
And again, a veteran guy, that's won close to 70 big league games last year with the Philadelphia Phillies, and trying to get things right now with the Colorado Rockies, as he has been in Colorado Springs the last couple of months. Ubaldo Jimenez has been sensational of late. We'll chat more about the 25-year-old right-hander when we return. Pirates. The Pirates last night stopped a 7-game slide at Coors Field with their 7-3 victory. Honestly, it was probably the worst game the Rockies have played so far under Jim Tracy. Tracy told me earlier, and I know he said this to you, he could not wait to get to the park today to erase the memories of last night. And he's got the right guy on the mound tonight, Ubaldo Jimenez, special talent.
Well, he is a special talent. I mean, you can go through all the numbers you want about him going up against Kevin Hart tonight with 134 strikeouts, 8 in the National League. Everything that you want to talk about Ubaldo growing before our very eyes is taking place, because this guy, every time he goes out there, is going to give you at least 6 innings. He's going to throw 112, 115 pitches, somewhere in that neighborhood. But he's really started to understand that, you know what, I'm in control out here. If something starts to go a little south on him, he's the one that's able to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to put my foot down. I'm going to be the guy. 2-0, 184 ERA here in August. Along those lines, 14 strikeouts in those 2 ball games. So he is, yeah, his record might not be where he wants it to be, but sometimes you don't have control over that. But what he has control over now is when he goes out there, he knows what he wants to get done.
Well, and he knows he's got 24 other guys tonight that really want to get something done because they were not pleased with what transpired last night. We're set to go. We hope you are as well at home. It is mic'd up night. In fact, Houston Street had it on during batting practice. Rockies and Pirates come on back to 20th and Blake with us. By Quest, get 2 free gigs of online backup with Quest high-speed internet. And by Nissan and your Nissan dealer. Another pretty night, when is it not? At Coors Field in lower downtown Denver. It was H.O.T. hot late this afternoon.
Hot.
There's an old friend of yours, John Russell, 2nd season as a Pirates manager. And he has watched the remake of his roster over the last couple of weeks. In fact, the only guy in that lineup that was in the lineup on opening day, there are 2 of them, Ryan Doman and Andy LaRoche. Everybody else is basically new. Andrew McCutchen, great-looking rookie. Lastings Village over from Washington. Garrett Jones called up from Indianapolis, and Doman. Delwyn Young swinging the bat well. LaRoche, Brandon Moss with a lot of power, former Boston Red Sox. Ronnie Cedeno over from Seattle, and he has swung the bat in his first 11 ball games playing for the Pirates. And let's take a look at the Fidelity scouting report on the 25-year-old Ubaldo Jimenez from the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, we can almost go up to 100 sometimes on that fastball because we've seen him hit triple digits at time. That riding fastball up into the right-handers. Hard curveball, hard slider, and that circle split change that he'll use to get that strikeout pitch. 9.9 ERA. One thing Ubaldo's been able to do is once he needs to reach back for a little bit more, he can go out and get it and get the strikeout. The all-time ERA leaders here at Coors Field among the starters with a minimum of 93 innings. Guess who's number one? Go ahead.
Ubaldo.
There you go, a 3.53 ERA.
You know, you think back a few years ago, before this guy rolled into town, and before the humidor, if anybody said a guy could have a 3.5 ERA over an extended period of time, they would have told you you're nuts.
Go jump in a lake, because that's not happening.
First pitch of the ball game at 96 is in there, strike one on Andrew McCutchen. McCutchen had a big ball game last night. Scored 3 runs and had 3 stolen bases. He's been a pain in the neck for the Rockies. 6 for 18, 3 triples, 2 doubles at Coors Field. And a little bouncing ball to Stewart. And Helton has the play at first as he moves out of the way of McCutchen. 1 out. Let's take a look at the Rockies defensively tonight. In the outfield, they'll have Seth Smith in left, Carlos Gonzalez in center field, Brad Hoffman right. Then Stewart and Tulowitzki on the left side. Just 12 combined errors there. Clint Barmas and Todd Helton on the right side. Helton has only 2 errors this year. Chris Iannetta behind the plate. And there's Dexter Fowler. And you can see by the big broad smile, he is feeling much better. In fact, if the Rockies needed him tonight, he could play.
He could. He went out and did some running earlier today. Loosened that knee up a little bit. Had a chance to talk to him in the locker room. Said it's still a little sore, but hopes to be back in the lineup tomorrow. If not, then Friday. But he was joking around in the batting cage today. We both saw him. He had his usual smile and having fun out there.
And here's why he's been out the last couple of days. Fabulous catch late Monday night in the 9th inning. And then he tried to run through a wall. Oh, up and in on Lasting's millage, and it's 3-0. Now, Ubaldo in his last start beat the Cubs. He allowed just 2 runs, one of which was unearned in 6 2/3, but he walked 5, and he just walked the guy on 4 pitches. Ubaldo struck out 6 in that victory over the Cubs, looking for his 10th win of the year. And if he gets it tonight, the Rockies will have 4 pitchers in double figures for only the 2nd time ever. The last time, and the only other time, coming in 2000. Let's take a look at the Burt Automotive keys to victory tonight.
Oh, really refocus. A lot went wrong in last night's ball game. Forget about it. Come back and play tonight. Set the tone early, and I'm talking about both defensively and offensively. And of course, the last one to me is going to be Ubaldo. How he does tonight. Yeah, you did have a new piece come into the bullpen, but still, set the tone with Ubaldo. Go out there tonight and reestablish some dominance.
6 straight out of the strike zone, and Chris Iannetta has got to run out to the mound. The only thing is Ubaldo has made a number of strides. The only thing that's stopping him from going to the top of the mountain right now is fastball command.
Right, and that's part of the reason why Yolis Shashin got sent out too. They wanted him to work a little bit on that fastball command. And no matter how long you play this game, there's always something you need to be working on. And for Ubaldo right now, it is being able to command that fastball whenever he needs it.
Two O's in there. Chris Caccione is the home plate umpire tonight. Mike Winters at first, Jerry Lane at second, Mike DeMuro is at third base. 1 out, 1 on. Garrett Jones is at the plate. Good look at Caccione. And that's fouled off.
Well, whatever Chris went out there and talked to him about, it's worked, because the last 2 fastballs, 96, 97 miles an hour, and he's hit the glove exactly where Chris wanted it. More than likely, it was probably, hey, don't rush to the plate.
Two twos inside, and now it's 3-2.
Even with Doman on deck, John Russell typically likes to play a more aggressive style if he can.
Put Millage in motion.
Yeah,
here.
put Millage in motion on a 3-2 count. And that's why Tom Runnels, who runs a running game for Jim Tracy from the bench, is given the signs, throw over a couple times. There he's going through all his signals.
That's an edge.
Yeah, that one wasn't a signal.
Swung on and missed for the second. Strike him out, throw him out. Ubaldo Jimenez punches out Garrett Jones, and after the Rockies gave up 5 stolen bases last night, Chris Iannetta puts his foot down early tonight. Perfect throw.
Jump from Lassing's Millage, pretty quick to the plate from Ubaldo Jimenez, 1.11, but that was just not a very good break from Millage. Easy throw for Chris Iannetta. Nice tag from Troy. Of course, Tommy Runnels is saying, yeah, way to go, baby. Get out of that inning. That's nice.
I'll tell you what, the Rockies have a great staff. Tommy Runnels was a terrific addition. Don Baylor, he speaks for itself, himself,
Yep.
Obviously. Richie Dower, Glenn Allen Hill do a very nice job. Jimmy Wright down to the bullpen. Bob Apodaca. Batting order for the Rockies tonight. Seth Smith again leading things off. The red-hot Carlos Gonzalez will be next. It's the 5th straight ball game. When he started, he's been in the 2-hole. Todd Helton's got a 16-game hitting streak. Then Tulowitzki, Hopp, Stewart, Barmes, Iannetta, and Jimenez, who brings a .250 average to the party. And the first pitch from Kevin Hart is inside, ball 1. Well, Hart was originally signed by the Baltimore Orioles, and he was part of the Grabo and Gorzolani deal from the Cubs recently. This is his 2nd start in a Pirates uniform. His first start, he got a no decision. He pitched well, 6 innings, 3 runs. He did give up 9 hits, but he walked just 1, struck out 5 against Arizona, so it was a pretty solid outing.
Yeah, and it's just a power arm, and that's part of the reason why he came over from Baltimore for Freddie Bynum to get over to the Cubs.
And he's a guy that he throws a fastball, he throws a cutter, rarely uses a changeup. I mean, he really comes after you with hard stuff.
Yeah, and that's why he's a power pitcher, and that's sometimes one of those guys that falls into, okay, is he good enough to be a starter, or would he be better on the backside of the bullpen out there, because he can come in and throw hard, get the strikeouts.
And there's the breaking ball, and Seth Smith just dropped the head of the bat on it. That was pretty hitting.
That's where that heavier bat comes into play. Ever since Seth has gone to a heavier bat, 34 ounces, you start to see the bat speed and the different sound. From the Hyundai can, they tried to work the slider curveball type, more of a slurve inside, but from the side. Just a little pickup, not much, and just a replacement. Boy, look at those hips get through, the head going down that way. It's all beautiful.
He's got a .331 average since June the 1st. 2 hits last night, single and a double. So here's Carlos Gonzalez. He hit a home run last night into the Rockies bullpen. And he takes outside, ball 1. In fact, since the All-Star break, he's hitting .435. Now, I understand he hasn't been out there every day, but it is still the second best average in the National League to that fellow in St. Louis who just came from Oakland, Matt Holliday. That's hitting .470 since the All-Star break. Catches the corner, 1-1.
Well, last night with Seth Smith at first base, we saw Carlos Gonzalez try to lay down a bunt for a base hit. It turned out to be a sacrifice when the Rockies didn't score. I don't look for him to do that early in the ballgame. The way he's been swinging the bat lately, I said, go ahead and swing it. Something happens, you didn't double play, so what? Let's take your chances and on opening this game up right away.
I'll tell you another reason I agree with you. If he did hit it on the ground, it'd have to be a rocket to double him up. And then the worst thing that happens is you trade places with Smith and you have a faster runner. And Smith's not slow, but you have an even faster guy.
Right. One guy's stolen 9 and Carlos, the other's stolen 4 bases.
2-1. Kevin Hart's a 26-year-old. This is what he wants to do. Not surprising to be a starting pitcher, and that's what he did in the minor leagues. But when he was brought to Chicago this year, and last year, he's primarily working out of the bullpen. Foul tip, 2-2.
Well, Carlos Gonzalez does a little bit different than what Seth Smith does in the way they stand in the box. Seth Smith's a little bit deeper. Seth is back in this area. Notice how much Carlos in front of that. And sometimes when you do that, it's because you want to try to get the breaking pitch before it really breaks. That's a good 5 to 7 inches in front of where Seth was.
Three and 2. Same question that
start him.
You handled last inning.
Yeah, I go ahead and start him. Even though Todd Helton's on deck, the way Carlos has been swinging the bat, now if you would have asked me 3-4 weeks ago, probably not.
No, too many empty swings.
Yeah, but the other thing is now he's hitting in the number 2 hole for a reason, because of the swings he's been able to produce. Yeah, I mean, those numbers don't get any better than that, and that's why you go ahead and start Seth Smith over at first base.
Smith takes off, and this ball is lined deep down the left field line, and it is gone. 2-run home run right inside the foul pole. Carlos Gonzalez makes it 2-0. This kid's starting to arrive. Home run in back-to-back ball games now for Carlos Gonzalez. Here he comes.
Well, think back to last night. Last Millage robbed a hit away from Carlos Gonzalez. This time he says, you know what, I'm not going to worry about that. The leg drive through this ball, what allowed him to hit the ball the other way. The concentration, the Hyundai Camp. Right on the sweet spot, the head follow through, you name it, it was there. Well, one more look at that. When that ball was hit, wasn't sure if it was going to have enough oomph to get over there. I knew it was going to be close to getting to the wall, but that ball got out.
Here's the 0-1 to Helt, and the slider is in there 0-2. Yeah, usually guys have some sort of adverse reaction when they get 2 pitches called on them and they're in a ditch 0-2. You never see that from Helt. Fastball up tall. up high, too tall, I should say. 1 and 2.
Yeah, but when you have a 264 average with 2 strikes, a lot of guys don't have a 264 average at all.
And the 264 is 15 points below his career average with 2 strikes. Here's the 1-2. It's high.
The obligatory foul ball, the helicopter with the hand coming off the bat.
That's his Zorro swing.
Yeah. Watch this hand come off the bat. The very top hand from the Hyundai Cam. Watch it at the last second. Now that's just to reach a little bit further coming out of the zone.
You know, it's just a few days ago we were saying, you know, Todd's got an 11-game hitting streak, but he's not hot. He's just throwing out basically a hit a night. Yep. Well, now he's hot. His last 5 games he's hitting .600.
Yeah, he was getting some singles before, not a whole lot of long balls or doubles or whatever it was. I mean,
there's what he did the first 11 games.
Yeah, and that's the 304 slugging. 1 double in there, and the rest of it was just a lot of singles, but that's how the good hitters get a 16-game hitting streak.
1 shy of his career best. He hit 17 straight in the summer of 2003. Rockies up 2-0, nobody out. A sharp single by Seth Smith and an even sharper 2-run home run by Carlos Gonzalez to the opposite field.
Yeah, home run 129 for the Rockies, which is second in the National League, only trailing the Phillies.
And Helton hits it in the air to Lasting's Millage. 1 out. Let's take a look at the Fidelity scouting report on Kevin Hart.
We talked about his fastball, 91 to 96 miles an hour with some cut, hard curveball, 77 to 81. And changeup 85, 88. It's a straight change, but he only throws it occasionally. As you mentioned, Drew, he likes to throw that fastball somewhere in the neighborhood of 55, 65% of the time. The problem that he's been having this year is not right-handers. Righters are hitting 197 off. It's the lefties at a 339 clip.
Troy Tulowitzki comes in at 275, and he takes ball 1. Last night, after the 5-for-5 cycle performance the night before, the first pitch he swings at on Tuesday night goes into the seats. Home run number 22 for Tulowitzki. He had a hit in 6 straight at bats. And Tulo hits it on the ground to Andy LaRoche. 2 outs. Let's take a look at the Pirates defensively. Lasting's Millage in left, Andrew McCutcheon in center, Brandon Moss is in right, LaRoche and Cedeno on the left side, Delwyn Young again at second, Gary Jones for Steve Pearce at first, and Ryan Doumit doing the catching. 2 outs, but 2 in, nobody on, and Brad Hopp will come to bat. Brad last night was 0 for 3 in a walk. And that's a little bit low. Fans, feed your Rockies fever at Taco Bell. If the Rockies score 7 or more runs during any ball game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6. Feed your fever with 4 tacos for $1. That is a steal. Ball had good late movement.
Well, it did, and that's why that swing from Brad was a little out of kilter. I mean, his back foot really didn't rotate. His hips didn't come through. It was just a late swing at the baseball.
Giants and Dodgers played a day game today at AT&T, and after the Dodgers took the first 2 ball games of the series, Tim Lincecum was on the hill, and he put an end to that. The Giants win 4-2 over the Dodgers, so now they're a half game behind the Rockies in the wild card race. The Dodgers 6 up on the Rockies in second place. Let's take a look at the standings in the West. 6.5 games, the Rockies and Giants respectively. And then the wild card. There's 5 teams, folks, within 3 games of the Rockies in the wild card chase.
Yeah, don't discount the Florida Marlins.
The Phillies can't discount the Florida Marlins.
No, not at all after they went in there last week.
Yeah. It's not a miss. The 3-2 pitch missed by Brad Hopp. In the first inning, the Rockies get right after Kevin Hart. Seth Smith lined a single to right, and then Gonzalez on a pretty good pitch down and away, just lined it out of the ballpark. Rockies lead at 2-0. Drew Goodman, Jeff Houston, as we go to the top of the second inning. Ubaldo Jimenez will face the cleanup hitter Ryan Doman. Swinging the bat pretty well, and that breaking pitch is too high. Ball 1. Doman gets jammed and hits a pop fly to shallow right. Here comes Brad Hopp. 1 out. Delwyn Young will approach the plate. We check in for the first time tonight with Alana Rizzo, and she has tonight's Mike Shaw Auto Update. Alana.
Hey, Drew, thanks very much. In light of Yolis Chacin getting his first major league start yesterday, it prompted me to ask Ubaldo Jimenez about his, and if he remembered it, and he said it was, a mixture of nerves and excitement. I certainly didn't sleep the night before. He pitched the last game of the 2006 series against the Chicago Cubs. I said, okay, who did you face? He said, former Rocky Juan Pierre. I said, what did you throw? He said, a fastball, of course. I just had to throw it right up the middle. And I said, you know what advice did you give Yolis after last night's ball game? He said in Spanish, no te preocupes, which means don't worry about it. You got the first one under your belt. The only thing you can do now is work on it. And that's exactly what Yolis will be expected to do down in AAA Colorado Springs. It's hard to believe Ubaldo's major league start was in 2006, and here he is as one of the elite pitchers in the game, guys.
Would you say that one more time in Spanish?
Yes, that was impressive.
Okay, no te preocupes. Don't worry about it.
Well, I knew that because that's what I said to Yolis
right.
today also.
Is that what you told him? No te preocupes?
Yeah,
okay.
because
well,
he's going to be fine. He will be fine.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
What's the matter,
it's going to be okay. No te preocupes, Drew.
It's absolutely.
She said it much better than you did.
Was that shocking to you?
No.
There's a strike. 3-2 on Delwyn Young. And Delwyn Young's gone. Second strikeout of the ball game for Ubaldo Jimenez.
Sometimes when you have a fastball that can get up there at 96 miles an hour, you're going to get away with a few pitches up because the guys see it out of the hand. But for the Hyundai Cam, he tries to catch up to it. The barrel of the bat will go underneath the ball. That's because you're late. I mean, he had no chance of trying to get on top of that. But it happened so fast, he just ended up swinging.
Andy LaRoche takes strike 1. Wouldn't you know it? I wrote Adam LaRoche in the book tonight.
Well, Adam LaRoche hit a home run for Atlanta already tonight. I'm sure it's not the first time it's happened.
No.
Especially when they were playing together before Adam got traded.
Exactly.
I had to think about who I was saying who got traded. Adam got traded. Andy's still here.
Here's the 1-2. 99-mile-an-hour heat.
It's so effortless too. That's the thing that really shocking. When you're standing in the box and a guy can throw 99 that easy, the timing is just so hard to get.
2-2 on LaRoche. Rockies up 2-0. This ball's hit to Gonzalez in center field. He tracks it down. A 1-2-3 second inning for Jimenez. Rockies will have another shot at Kevin Hart in a moment. 2-0 they lead.
Bug. I got a bug.
Is it really?
Yeah, I promise you. I wouldn't lie.
Oh, okay.
Stiff wind. Huh? Stiff breeze.
Thanks, Houston. We could do with that stiff breeze. Cleared out my eardrums.
Mine are just fine now. What'd you say?
Yeah, exactly. One strike, the count on Ian Stewart against Kevin Hart. And Stewart with that buggy whip swing is behind 0-2. Got a center cut 95-mile-an-hour fastball, just missed it. Stewart has 28 hits at Coors Field this year. 15 of those have gone for extra bases. Sitting on 18 home runs.
I've seen a lot of the teams lately really try to pitch Ian inside. Try to work hard with the fastball, hard sliders, nothing so he can get those arms extended to drive the ball even the other way. They're trying to come in or go something very, very soft back downstairs.
That ball was left out over the plate. It's ripped to right, and it's going to run to the wall, which means Stewart will have a double. We always talk about location. That was not a good pitch location-wise.
No, they were trying to throw the curveball. And from the side, we'll be able to see just the little bit of motion going forward before those hands start to come into the zone. And that was just a bad pitch on a 1-2 count. Good for Ian.
Yeah, love to see Stewart get real hot. He's hit 7 of 8 ball games this month to a .333 average. You were talking about when they busted him in lately, and if you recall last year, Huey, as Clint Barmas steps up. Recall last year in his first tour when Clint Hurdle said he had that Nike swoosh, he had kind of a little hitch in his swing, and anything above 91 or so inside he had trouble catching up with. Went back down to Colorado Springs, cleaned that up, came up, and it was red hot for a decent portion of the rest of the season.
But you're right. I mean, that's where sometimes you rely on information that you had from the previous year. Say, no, I still think we can get away with doing it, pitching him inside. But now, since he's taken that little bit of a Nike swoosh out of his swing, more of a direct path to the ball, then he can catch up to those 93, 94, 95 mile an hour fastballs.
Barmas fouls that off, 1-2. Trying to punch it to the right side and move the runner. Here's an interesting one. It's August 12th, right? The last single for Clint was July 21st.
Against Arizona, was it?
Against Arizona. He's got 4 home runs since then. No singles. 1-2. Drop. Did he catch that?
I don't know.
No signal. Out and out from the first base umpire. Mike Winter said the ball was caught.
Boy, that ball just kept hanging up, and the speed of McCutchen. And we talked about last night in the broadcast how shallow McCutchen plays, and that's the only reason why he caught that right off the top of the grass. I mean, he got his glove underneath there. That is a good catch and the right call from Mike Winters.
Wouldn't you think just how he played it, flashing back to your days when you did play in the outfield? I don't think I didn't think he approached that like he was going to field it on a hop. And then he's like, wait, I still have a chance to catch it.
You're exactly right, because then the ball just hung up too long. Here's what you're talking about, Drew. Now, McCutchen gets a half break on it because he didn't think he was going to get it, so he stopped right there. If he keeps coming and tries to catch that, he'll probably catch it at the knee, maybe at the waist. But that goes back to the point that you made. He didn't think he was going to get it.
I mean, he broke down and said, all right, I'm going to field it on a hop.
Played in front. Don't let it get by me. We'll go ahead and settle for the first and third. And then, oh, wait a second. With my speed, maybe I can get there.
1 strike count on Iannetta. Now 2 strike count. Chris threw out a couple of hits last night in his first ball game back after taking a couple of days off. I mean, they weren't off days. He had extreme work days in the hitting cage.
Yeah, that's what I like to call work days, not necessarily off days, work days. We're just off from starting that ball game.
In the Cubs organization this year, most of Kevin Hart's time was spent at Iowa, AAA. Last April, he got an inning of relief in against the Rockies at Coors Field, so he's been here before. This ball to center field, easy play for McCutchen. That'll bring up Ubaldo, and Jimenez has a .250 batting average. In fact, there's only one pitcher, starting pitcher in the National League with a higher batting average than Jimenez, and it's a former Rocky who's one of the best hitters in the game among pitchers, Mike Hampton. Hampton hitting in the high 200s.
Well, he just worked so hard at it, like all the rest of his game, to get better with his bunting. 7 sacrifice bunts on the year for Ubaldo. Not a case here. He's going to be swinging.
Hard on the ground, but it's picked up by Delwyn Young. So a leadoff double by Stewart. The Rockies could not advance him with the bottom of the order. 2-0, the Rockies lead on the Gonzalez home run.
I've been invited to 4 fantasy football leagues, right? Odds are I'm not getting the same team in every league. Like, I'm not going to draft the same players, right? I've been invited to 4 fantasy football leagues, right? Odds are I'm not getting the same team in every league. Like, I'm not going to draft the same players, right? So logic says spread it out so that, because I don't want to have the same team in all leagues, and that way if that team doesn't win, then all my teams lose. But then loyalty says I don't want to be cheering for the entire NFL. It's no fun for me.
Well, it's very important to get your fantasy football team in order early this time of year.
Yeah.
And there's not too many clubhouses that don't have a pretty good rotisserie league, or fantasy football league as they call them now, going.
No, you usually have one commissioner, about 8 to 10 guys that play in that league, and it's
and you usually have 4 or 5 attorneys also. Right?
Yeah, a lot of those.
Brandon Moss behind 2 strikes. Now it's 1-2. This was one of the quote-unquote prizes that came to the Pirates. That's a base hit to left. In the Jason Bay deal that sent Jason Bay, it was a 3-way trade, as you may recall, last year, that sent Jason Bay to Boston. Brandon Moss has been an enigma. They've seen the power. Well, they haven't seen anything consistent enough.
No, and that's the frustrating thing when you trade a guy like Jason Bay, who's done what he's been able to do in Boston, and you try to get a guy that you think is going to be that big cornerstone guy, and he doesn't do it for you.
Strike 1 on Ronnie Cedeno. That hit by Moss, the first hit of the night for Pittsburgh. Their only other base runner, Lastings Millett, second hitter of the game, a 4-pitch walk, but then he was cut down on a strike him out, throw him out to end the first inning. On the ground to short. Is it hit hard enough? There's 1, there's 2.
Only because of Clint Barmas's quick hands was that the reason why it was turned. It wasn't hit that hard, as you mentioned. Drew kind of got in on the hands a little bit of Ronnie Cedeno. Wasn't hit crisp for Hopper to Troy. He gets rid of it, and then Clint just stands in there, throws out Cedeno. One more look at this, but Moss is barreling in on him hard. Clint gets those spikes out of the ground, but the good thing about it, he had the bag between him and the base runner. So the base runner had to slide into the bag before he could even get to Clint and kind of dump him a little bit. But by that time, that's easy. Then you just land on them. I mean,
Huey, you taught middle infield play. You still do. To me, what Tulowitzki did also, just being smooth was quick.
He didn't stand up. Yeah, when he caught the ball, where he caught it, that's where he threw it from. A lot of times what you'll see is guys, when they catch the ball at shortstop or second base, they have to stand up and just raise up, I should say, not stand up, raise up from the waist so they can throw from a higher arm angle. Where he caught the ball, he just was able to underhand it.
But you know what I mean? Instead of going on rushing it, you know, all right, it wasn't hit that hard, I have to be faster. He was smooth.
Yeah, what I always say is your job is to catch it, make a good feed. That's it. It's not to turn the double play. It's your partner's job to turn the double play.
You get one.
You get one. So you catch it, you make a good feed. If you don't, then you're not able to turn it.
1-2, and that just missed.
I even tell my 13-year-old team that. Catch the ball, make a good feed.
90 degrees tonight at first pitch. And Ubaldo fields it. And he likes to go sidearm when he makes plays in the infield. Rockies leading 2-0, middle of 3. Top of the order when we come back. The best way to save time and money. Tomorrow is a day ball game against the Pittsburgh Pirates. We'll have it for you right here on FSN Rocky Mountain. And then it is off to South Florida to take on the very good Florida Marlins over the weekend. Monday will be an off day. You and I will be doing some sightseeing. You invited me with Wendy, and I really appreciate that. Your wife will be joining us also. And then the Nationals for 3 ball games. You didn't tell Wendy.
We're just going to the Smithsonian, doing a few things, sightseeing here and there in Washington. You're more than welcome to come along.
We'll go to the Air and Space. I'll get the whole day straight. Okay. We'll go to the Air and Space Museum. We'll go on those Hornets, you know, the simulators.
Yes.
I went in one of those, or actually 2 of those, with 2 of my 3 boys a couple of summers ago. My equilibrium was off for like a week. Here's Seth Smith. He takes a strike on the outside corner. Smith got the rally going in the bottom of the first with a line single to right, and then Carlos Gonzalez followed it up with a line home run down the left field line. 2-0 Colorado. 3 hits for the Rockies, just 1 for the Pirates. So you hadn't told Wendy yet, had you, that I was tagging along?
No, I was going to tell her tonight, but now she already knows.
Yeah. Should be getting that text any second now. This ball is chopped to first. And Jones flips off to Hart. 1 out.
Wells Fargo customers enjoy Colorado Rockies baseball in style with a special Wells Fargo offer. 2-for-1 club level seats. Visit wellsfargo.com/Rockies for all the details. Wells Fargo Bank N.A. member FDIC, official bank of the Colorado Rockies.
One out, Carlos Gonzalez steps up. He has to be the most confident he has ever been as a major league hitter, and that includes more than 300 at-bats last year with the Oakland A's. He hit 242. There's the home run right down the left field line.
Oh, no doubt about that, because of the way he's been able to produce and perform for Jim Tracy.
Called a strike, 1-1.
Because remember, there was talk right around the All-Star break that he might have to go back down to Colorado Springs to get a refresher course. But Jim and the gang stuck with him and decided, you know what more does he have to do down there? We'll try to mix and match him here, and then he's taken off. But he's just so much more confident in everything he does. And the reason he was able to stay up here and kind of work things out, though, was his defense. His defense is top shelf, so they said, well, we can put him out for defense sometimes if we need to, and that's what kept him here.
It's nice to have more than one skill.
Yeah, when you have tools like Carlos, you got power, you can hit for average, some speed, and play defense. If one's not working for a while, you still have other skills that the manager feels he can utilize you with.
Well, remember, he was below the Mendoza line. Now you look up, he's hitting 290.
Yeah. On base percentage of 356 now. All of that is going up, it seems like, every single day.
Yeah, the slugging percentage, 861 over his last 15 games coming in. That home run he hit, by the way, tonight, first non-solo home run with the Rockies. That ball, home run distance, but it's foul. He had 3 solo home runs coming into this evening.
Well, and think back last night, he hit the home run to right center field, and tonight, right down the left field line. I mean, those are two extreme opposites if you're talking about a home run from a left-handed hitter.
Two, and Gonzalez goes down swinging hard, elevated the fastball. Good pitch. 2 outs. That'll bring up Todd Helton. It takes us to this date in history, presented to you by Dex. Dex knows. August 12, 1974. Nolan Ryan fans 19 batters as the Angels beat the Red Sox 4-2. Ryan breaks the American League record of 18 by Rapid Robert Feller back in 1938. Ties the big league record set by Steve Carlton in '69 and Tom Seaver in 1970. Ball 1 on Helton. Bob Feller still with us.
Just outside of Des Moines, Iowa.
And he remains a huge baseball fan.
You see a lot of Hall of Fame inductions everywhere, but there's still baseball or reunions. Bob Feller's there.
Down low on Helton, 2-1. How about this note? Todd is hitting .370 in his career in the month of August. That's not this year. That's not the last couple of years. That's not, you know, a 3-year period, 2000 to 2002. That's for his career.
That's unbelievable, because August is usually the tough month.
The dog days, right?
The dog days of August. He hit that wall just a little bit right after the All-Star break. First week or two into the month of August.
Before you get the second win.
Yeah, because then you realize, okay, wait, I still have 6-7 weeks left of the season. I better pick it up here a little bit and not look too far into the future.
You can see on that graphic, he was awful in July. He hit .349.
Yeah.
He's picked it up here in August. 2-2. And he stayed with that. It's line to Lasting's Village. So a 1-2-3 inning in the third for Kevin Hart. It's 2-0. City. Who was the last player to win Rookie of the Year debuting in June or later? A lot of pretty good candidates this year. The Rockies have one naturally in Dexter Fowler. This kid is a very good candidate, and the reason we asked the question is McCutchen didn't come up till the first part of June. Usually think of a rookie who started the year with the big club and plays all 6 months of the summer. That's not always the case.
No, and he's just really thrown his name into that ring with about 3 or 4 other guys. Colby Rasmussen with St. Louis.
What, Hansen, who didn't?
Oh, Tommy Hansen,
Tommy Hansen in Atlanta, who didn't start the year with Atlanta, and it's 3-0 on McCutchen.
Randy Wells with Chicago, who the Rockies beat the other day.
Converted catcher. McCutchen grounded to third his first time up. And that's not close. So leadoff walk, second allowed tonight by Ubaldo Jimenez. Not the guy you want on base in McCutchen. Millage coming up, and let's visit again with Alana Rizzo.
All right, Drew, thanks very much. Time now for What Do You Know, brought to you by Radio Shack. And yesterday, you and Huey were talking about Lasting's millage and if it was really Lasting's Ocho Cinco. Well, I found out why he chose the number 85. Back when he was with the Washington Nationals and Adam Dunn was signed, Adam Dunn had worn number 44 for his entire career, but they gave him number 32 because Lasting's millage had number 44. Now, Adam Dunn didn't ask for 44, but Lasting's millage gave it to him anyway. He presented it to him and said, you know what, you've had 278 home runs up to this point. I'm going to give you the number because whatever it takes for you to continue to perform. Adam Dunn was very taken aback by that. He really appreciated it. And why 85, you might ask? Well, that's because that was the year Lasting's millage was born, guys.
That's interesting. Yeah, we were trying to figure that out. Thanks for the information. When players go to, when a big name comes to a new team, do you pretty much know, okay, he wears my number?
Yep.
Or does somebody have to tell you?
No,
0-2.
No, because you know when he comes over there and you make a trade for Adam Dunn, yeah, you know who he is. He's been in the league a long time. You know he wears number 44. You were wearing that number. Nobody really needs to tell you. The equipment guy will come up and ask or talk to you for a minute, but usually you just have to bargain and see what you can get out of the deal.
2-strike pitch upcoming as McCutchen dives back in.
Sometimes it's be a new set of golf clubs. How about taking me out to dinner? That sort of thing. Maybe a new suit.
Do a little research on his contract.
Yeah.
Swung on and missed, so Jimenez strikes out Millage on 3 pitches. That's the 3rd strikeout for Ubaldo.
A hanging slider just a little bit. Got away with it at 85 miles an hour. Right out of the hand from the Hyundai cam, we'll be able to see the slider grip from Ubaldo. He puts those 2 fingers together, gets right on the seam, and then just pulls down. And that one just kind of rolled out of his hand a little bit. Didn't really finish out in front. Didn't get that downward action.
He hasn't had the good bite on his slider yet tonight.
No, he hasn't. He just hasn't finished it off, finished out in front of it, but he hasn't needed it just yet. He's been able to get away with some fastballs up in the zone. See if McCutchen takes off. He tried to run earlier in that first pitch to Lasting's millage.
Garrett Jones struck out his first time. There's a strike. Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Pedro Martinez, making his return to the big leagues tonight, is going to get a victory for the Phils.
Boy, that's brave of you.
Not a good outing for Jeff Samardzija.
Well, Sean Marshall's already in the ball game after Samardzija, who we saw had to start for Carlos Zambrano.
His first major league start did not go well. 12-1 Philadelphia at Wrigley Field.
throw over right here. Makes your, yep.
By the way, in that ball game, Pedro was giving up a run on 4 hits. Struck out 4, hasn't walked anybody.
Kind of following up what he did on his last rehab start. He's striking out 11.
0-2. Some interesting happenings in baseball today. The Brewers, Doug Melvin's not afraid to make moves. We learned that with Ned Yost last year. He has sent J.J. Hardy, 2 years ago, an all-star shortstop, down to AAA. Billy Hall's been designated for assignment, and he has asked his pitching coach, Bill Castro, who's been with the organization forever.
18 years. He wasn't just reassigned. They said that's enough. But J.J. Hardy, yeah, he'd been struggling, but an all-star, as you mentioned, a couple years ago. I was shocked when I saw that.
Yeah, that one got me by surprise. The suspension's already handed out for the, I don't want to call it a brawl, but the altercation last night. Kevin Youkilis went out to the mound against Detroit with Rick Porcello out there. Youkilis and Porcello both get 5-game suspensions. That one's far more painful to the Red Sox. Giants won on a Juan Uribe walk-off in the 10th inning today. We talked about Pedro. And John Smoltz, who was designated on Fridays, cleared waivers, and now the Red Sox have till Sunday to release him or trade him. He's not going to go to Pawtucket.
No. Just we see where he goes.
Pitch inside, ball 1 on Doman.
Let me go back to Porcello for a second. He got a 5-game suspension, too. For what, though? To me, he said he didn't throw at the guy, but he charges him out. What's he supposed to do? He ran backwards. He didn't even want to fight the guy at first.
Evidently, the commissioner's office felt that there was intent.
So they're mind readers now. I'm just asking you for your opinion, because my opinion, obviously, I'm stating it pretty clearly. I don't think it's fair to Porcello.
Just looking at his reaction when he let the pitch go, it looked like it truly did get away from him. And then obviously he wanted no part of Kevin Youkilis.
Right. He did body slam him pretty good.
Well, you know, once Youkilis got into him, he realized, I got a little momentum here. I'll get the takedown, yeah. There's a strike. 2-1 on Doman.
Just caught the outside part of the plate. And then the frame job from Chris, where he just kind of turned that hand in just a little bit. Well, we've already seen in this half inning what speed can do. With McCutchen over at first, the step-offs, the guy stepping out of the box, the quick throw-overs, how it just really slows the tempo of the ball game down.
But Ubaldo, oh, he had it picked off. Wow. Ubaldo didn't take a second look because McCutchen, he took off while Ubaldo's still holding the baseball, and Ubaldo never looked back. Nobody alerted him in time.
Well, it's really tough. You try to let the pitcher know as an infielder, step off, you've got him, but by that time his thought process was, I'm throwing home.
2-2, and this is in the air to right field. Brad Hawk will gather it in. So leadoff walk does not hurt Ubaldo Jimenez. He gets the next 3 hitters. Middle of 4, the Rockies ahead 2-0.
It wouldn't be beyond me, though, to throw a wrench in everybody's plan, mainly just to see the look on Tulo's face. Who's going to have the best year? Who should I take? Okay, now, really, who should I take?
See, you know, I think Houston Street, what he's doing is setting up his teammates.
Oh, definitely. He's laying low. He's going to ambush him at the end.
He's going to shock everybody. Take Kyle Orton. Troy Tulowitzki takes outside ball 1. Tulo hit a ground ball to third his first time up. Ball he stayed behind nicely. High fly ball that's going to land deep in the seats foul.
He was working very hard in batting practice today to try to stay up the middle, try to hit the ball the other way. Sometimes when you start to hit some home runs, you start to get a little happy during batting practice, but you got to refocus and go back to what was working for you. And that's what Troy was doing during BP today.
1-1 on Tulowitzki. And see, if you're a hitting instructor, put that hat on for a second. You don't mind those foul balls right there.
Not at all, because that's where you're looking through those eyes of where is the barrel going when that ball is coming across the plate. That just tells you, yeah, you might be a little late on when you start your swing, but the path and everything getting to that point is very good.
Takes us to a phrase that hitting instructors use sometimes: good hitters will get jammed.
That's right, and even that ball right there was hung a little bit slider. He waited, he kept his weight back, and then fired those hands at the last instance. The Hyundai cam, you can see even that front side staying in until he makes contact. That head's still down, and everything then after that opens up.
Stayed off at 2-2. Now, why do we say that, though, that good hitters will get jammed? Because they'll let the ball travel, right?
Exactly. They're not afraid of a ball inside. So many times people are afraid that they're going to get beat inside. So what they do is they open those hips, open that left shoulder if you're a right-handed hitter. And next thing you know, you're vulnerable to pitches away. If you're not afraid to get beat in, that's okay.
But it's a great point. It's a great teaching point.
It really is, because a lot of times when you think about getting beat, what you do is you start to fly open with the shoulder. It really slows your bat down. So if you're not afraid to get beat where you get jammed just a little bit, now you're going to stay on the ball longer. And that's what Troy's been able to do lately. Stay on the ball so when you go to swing, everything's right here, not out this way.
And as you fly early, the bat's going to be in and out of the zone real quick. No swing.
And that kind of leads me to our next point. We talked about it last night. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to go in the cage with Ryan Spilborghs, kind of break down hitting just a little bit. A lot of tips are going to be on there tomorrow, and we talked about it. If you have to go to work tomorrow and aren't able to watch it, at least DVR it, whatever you do, TiVo it. But you got to watch this for the kids, because Ryan breaks hitting down. It's really neat to see from his perspective.
And also, if you miss it during the day, we re-air the ball game in the evening. This ball is lined to left, base hit for Tulowitzki. And the Rockies have the leadoff man on in the 4th inning. It's the 3rd inning out of 4 that the Rockies have gotten the leadoff man on. They're up 2-0. So listen in again on Houston Street.
Actually, at 11, your best shot of winning the league is to double up on receivers or take Steve Slayton and hope he just goes off. Larry Johnson did put up some pretty good numbers towards the end.
He's been studying hard, but you know, he has, once he gets his workout in, he's running these things over in his mind between the 1st and 8th inning.
You think he gets any help from his dad?
Down there in Austin? He mentioned one Longhorn, did he?
No.
Longhorns are going to be one of the preseason favorites to be in the national title hunt. Brad Hopp at the plate. Colt McCoy back in the Big 12. Sam Bradford back. Colorado's own Zach Robinson back for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Ian Stewart's team are the Southern Cal Trojans. That's where he was going to go if he didn't sign out of high school. He's always been a big SC fan.
Chad Kruger, former catcher, head coach there.
In the dirt for a moment to Lewinsky, safe. Yeah, I thought Dolman was going to do it again on a block pitch, throw a guy out. He did it last night.
Well, first of all, I'm not sure how he was even able to block this pitch, because it hit so far out in front of the plate that he tried to backhand it and then came up and made the throw, and then Troy wisely slid to the backside, the outside part of the bag. So Ronnie Cedeno had to reach a little bit further to try to get him. That was pretty close. On the Hyundai camera, Ronnie slaps that tag down right at the last second before that foot gets on there. I mean, it was close. I don't know.
I watched it twice.
It could have gone either way.
It really could. I watched it twice. I'm not sure. I'm looking at you going, what do you think?
Well, the only reason I think he called him safe is the way he slid and went to the outside part of the bag.
That's a great job by Brad Hopp, as he's able to get out in front and move Tulowitzki to third with one out.
Here from the Hyundai cam, you see that foot just get to that back corner as Ronnie makes a sweep tag to try to get that. This is the one, watch this right there, right on this outside part of the bag. And that's what allowed him to get there before. If he goes to the inside part, if he goes to that area right there, folks, he's out.
Infield comes in halfway with Stewart at the plate. Stewart pulled a double to right in the second inning, leading off. Unfortunately, he was still standing at second base after 3 outs were recorded. Rockies trying to get a little more separation from the Pirates, up 2-0 as they hit the bottom of the 4th inning. Kevin Hart, former Cub, making his second start with Pittsburgh.
Good job of laying off that pitch from Ian. What they want to try to do is work something down into the zone so you work over on the top half of the baseball so you get the ground ball. Conversely, as a hitter, you want to make sure that that ball is elevated, because when it's up, that's the one that's very easy to hit the ball into the air with.
That check swing set him up nicely for this pitch. Here's the 2-0, and it's 3-0.
Just looking down to see if they might put Ian Stewart on to set up the double play.
They're going to do it.
Yep. Well, just the numbers matchups that I talked about earlier, the way righties have hit off of Kevin Hart compared to lefties.
So Stewart goes down to first. From Pittsburgh's perspective, they have an opportunity to get a ground ball double play and get out of the inning. Clint Barham is coming up. Affleck trivia question and answer. Who was the last player to win Rookie of the Year debuting in June or later? You actually have to go back a ways. This young man Andrew McCutcheon's put up great numbers, but he didn't come to the big leagues till the first part of June. Bob Horner, former Arizona State All-American, and had a great career with the Atlanta Braves. Really good career. One ball game, he had 4 home runs. It's on a short list of players to have done that. Horner in '78 won the Rookie of the Year despite debuting after June. Hit 266 that year with 23 home runs and 63 RBIs. But here's Barmes with a line drive to center field that McCutcheon stole a hit from Clint on. Ball was hit so hard just stayed in the air too long.
This is the catch you were talking about, Drew. The way he came in, didn't think he was going to be able to get it. He still caught it at the shoe tops.
Clint was way out in front there.
Well, just the opposite of what I talked about with Troy. That time the shoulder went, the head went, everything went on Clint Barmas. And anytime you start to go out there, you lead with your head too much, your eyes aren't going to stay into the zone.
He went and tried to go get the baseball instead of letting the baseball come to him.
Right. He kind of jumped towards the pitcher too much.
Oh, what? This ball to left field, and it's going to drop. Here comes the Rockies' third run. Tulowitzki crosses. Barnes makes it 3-0. His first single since July 21st. And Barnes has his 56th RBI. And for Clint, that ties his career best set in 2006.
Well, he made the adjustment after that first swing that was real wild, head flying open, everything that could go wrong did go wrong. That time he was able to stay on. The slider from the Hyundai cam got out in front a little bit, but that's okay. But notice where the head position is. As that front foot gets down, that head still stays behind the barrel of the bat. Travels right down the line of it, and then he kept his head there. Much like a golf swing, when you make a golf swing, sometimes you want to peek to see where the ball's going. That time he kept his head right there.
Chris Iannetta, and he hits it in the air to right field. Brandon Moss comes on. 2 outs, and that'll bring up Jimenez. You don't think they'll put him on to face Seth Smith here, do you?
No. Well, at least you can flip the lineup over.
Time for our Quest high-speed pitch. Kevin Hart's hit 95. Ubaldo Jimenez is hit 99. That's brought to you by Quest high-speed internet. Now, if this was a competition, Ubaldo would be unbeaten this year in our Quest high-speed pitch.
Yeah, because anybody he goes up against, he beats him.
Yeah. I like the one 2 starts ago where we got to put the 101 up.
He'd win a lot of stuffed animals at the state fair, wouldn't he?
Yeah. The big kind, not the little kind, the big ones.
Either knocking the milk cartons down or throwing at those dolls up there that bend over, whatever it is, he'd win them.
He might knock the whole carnival over.
The whole backside of the thing would just fall down.
Over, yep. 0-2. That's a fair ball. And Domit throws to first. In the inning, the Rockies get a couple of hits and another run. They have a 3-0 lead as we go to the 5th. of gas for $1.49 per gallon. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by Dex, take the sport out of finding local information with Dex in print and online at dexknows.com. Top of the fifth, Drew Goodman, Jeff Hewson, and Alana Rizzo. Rockies behind Ubaldo Jimenez pitching the shutout right now. It's time to go outside the box with Jack in the box. And Ubaldo Jimenez in his last outing got a no decision against the Pirates, despite giving up only 1 run in 6 innings against Pittsburgh. Rockies in that series at PNC Park lost 2 of 3. Then the Pirates came here later in the year and the Rockies swept them. They lost last night 7-3. Delwyn Young comes up and a nice curveball for strike 1. All of that was brought to you by Jack in the Box. Right now, try the mini Buffalo Ranch chicken sandwiches, 3 mini home-style chicken fillets on toasted mini buns. In the air to center field, Carlos Gonzalez makes the catch. That'll bring up the third baseman, Andy LaRoche. Earlier, we were talking about Andy's big brother, Adam, hitting a home run for Atlanta tonight. It's actually 2. He's hit a couple of home runs. The Braves have now put up a final at 6-2 against Washington tonight.
Well, they thought Casey Kochman would be the guy after LaRoche left to come there and fill that first base, have some power. He just never developed the power. That's why they got LaRoche back.
Good glove.
Very good glove.
They just keep juggling first baseman. They had Teixeira. They offered him a lot of money. Teixeira went the free agent route. Well, actually, when they realized they couldn't sign him, they traded him to the Angels, and then he went the free agent route. Time you could say you're hitting 400 against Ubaldo Jimenez. That's pretty good, especially from the right side.
Yeah.
Righties hitting just 207 against Jimenez this year. 3-1. And he went around, and that obviously was going to be ball 4. But you have to get started so early when a guy throws this hard.
Yeah, think back to when Delwyn Young struck out a few innings back in the second inning. Same thing. You just get overpowered with that fastball, and you just can't hold up.
Ball 4. Third walk allowed by Jimenez. There's the newest Rocky, Adam Eaton. Certainly not new to the big leagues. Won a pitch for a long time with the San Diego Padres. 70 and 68 in his career. Had a rough beginning this year with the Baltimore Orioles. He had an ERA over 8 in their rotation initially, and they let him go. The Rockies signed him in early June, and he's put up real solid numbers for Colorado Springs. With the Rockies again having a need tonight in their bullpen just in case, with Fogg down and Chacin was going to be down also. They sent Chacin out to Colorado Springs and brought up Adam Eaton. Up the middle and on past a diving Clint Barmas. Wasn't hit that hard, but Brandon Moss has both hits tonight for Pittsburgh. Now there's 2 on with 1 out.
Well, just by the look on Moss's face and that thumb, it's hurting right now because that ball got in on him. And when Clint goes after it, he tries to dive, and it's an in-between hop. Not sure, hey, am I going to catch it in the air? Can I knock it down at least? What's going to happen? And unfortunately, nothing, but that was a nice effort from Clint to even come that close. And tonight, this is the first time there's been a runner to second base for the Pirates. His thumb is still stinging him.
Ronnie Cedeno at the plate. Ronnie's a dangerous kind of guy. He's got occasional power. He had 5 home runs with Seattle before the trade. And he's got a couple already in a Pirates uniform. He's hit 10 of the first 11 ball games with Pittsburgh, so he's been impressive with his new club.
He does surprise you because most of his action is to right center field. And I mean, that's where he's trying to go. But if you make a mistake inside, he's still quick enough to pull those hands in and hit it out to left field. He doesn't have opposite field power. He's got straight pull power from like left center field over to the left field line.
Oh, 2 on Cedeno, who in the winter was still a member of the Chicago Cubs. And this is top to short. One play, and that's first. Runners at second and third. The good news is, for Pittsburgh, their pitcher's coming up, Kevin Hart.
And that's why it was a smart play from Troy. Not to try to throw back to second base to get that lead runner. Go ahead and get the out at first base. You know that there's now going to be 2 outs of pitchers coming up. So let's don't try to make a silly play, an off-balance play where we maybe would get the guy at second base and maybe we'd get him get the sure out. Got 2 outs, now you get the pitcher up.
Not a bad hack there by Hart, who hit a little comebacker in the 3rd inning. It's the first threat of any kind by Pittsburgh tonight. Again, they have 2 hits. Brandon Moss, a solid single to left in the 3rd, and then a little bleeder a moment ago. And that's low, 2-1. Jimenez pitch count at 70, which despite the 3 walks, pretty good.
Not bad.
Assuming he can dispatch of Kevin Hart.
And I would say 55 to 60 of them have been fastballs. Very few sliders.
And that misses, 3-1. Well, the last thing, forgive me for stating the obvious, that you want to do is walk the pitcher, load the bases for arguably their best hitter, Andrew McCutchen.
And their hottest hitter right now. The guy with speed.
That's what just happened. Jimenez came out of his delivery. He has walked the pitcher. That's 4 walks. Last night, you know how the walks killed the Rockies. They ended up walking 9 in the game. One of those walks was intentional. You can't keep putting people on base. You're giving the Pirates here a chance to get right back in this game. You have a 3-0 lead. They can't touch Jimenez when he's in the strike zone.
No, and you kind of give him a little bit of life to him, because prior to that point, they were just kind of going up there, feel like, well, I'm going to be defeated. But now all of a sudden you throw in a walk, an infield single, one that barely gets by Clint Barmas, another walk to the pitcher. Instead of being back into the dugout right now, where you feel like, okay, we'll get our offense cranked up now. Now you got to worry about McCutchen, who's 4 for 6 with the bases loaded and 12 RBIs.
9 walks the last 2 outings for Jimenez. 2 starts ago in Cincinnati, he didn't walk anybody in 8 innings. And a shattered bat, but he can fly. You got to hustle. And he just did get it. Tulowitzki makes a wonderful play. One of the fastest men in baseball flying up the line. Tulo just did get him. No damage done.
I don't like players with 3 names. It's also why I would not take TJ Husmanzada. So then Drew Brees would be the first pick overall. I think the draft's going to go like this. Adrian Peterson.
You're not taking AP.
Adrian Peterson, Matt Forte, Jones Drew, Matt Forte. LT or Larry Fitzgerald.
See, I don't know. I think LT was the right pick a couple of years ago. I don't know if LT's still the right pick.
No, and the other thing, too, is you got to determine what league you're playing in, what the scoring system is. Don't you?
Very important. A changeup to start out Seth Smith. Spilly just hoping that Adrian Peterson's still on the board when he selects.
He changed his look, too.
Thankfully. Said that to him. He wasn't happy with me earlier.
Did you say thankfully?
More or less.
Yeah. I wonder why he wasn't happy with it.
0-2 on Seth Smith. Smith is single, and a run scored in the first came around on the Carlos Gonzalez home run. And then hit a ground ball to first in the 3rd inning. Rockies leading 3-0. It's fouled out of play down the left field line. Rockies 23-10 in their last 33 at home. That's good because 28 of their last 49 will be right here at Coors Field.
That's nice too. In the next homestand, you get the Giants and Dodgers coming in.
You think there'll be large crowds?
I think there'll be very large crowds.
A great crowd tonight. Also, last night more than 35,000 for the Pirates. Lower bowl is completely full. Rock pile's full.
The players love it. I mean, they just feed off the energy of the crowd. They get into it. An extra bounce in your step when you come to the park, knowing that there's going to be some crowd supporting you.
1-2 on Mr. Late Night, Seth Smith, and he fouls that pitch off. He got a pitch up in the zone. That was in the happy zone. Windshield damage. Don't wait. Call Colorado's #1 team, Elite Safe Light Auto Glass, 303-287-5000, online at safelight.com. Once again, the Dodgers lost this afternoon in San Francisco 4-2 in 10 innings. Juan Uribe, the one-time Rocky, a 2-run walk-off home run.
That game was back and forth. Giants had jumped up to 2-0, 1-0, then 2-0. The Dodgers tied it up in the 9th when Lincecum was still in the ball game. I wonder if they were a little afraid to go to Wilson. Brian Wilson, their closer.
He ended up getting the win.
Yeah, I know, but not. He didn't come in to start that 9th inning.
Oh, he did?
No.
Two-two, and a good pitch by Kevin Hart. Good breaking ball, and he strikes out Seth Smith. Hart has kind of hung in there.
He has. He only has 80 pitches.
Let's take a look at our Excel Energy fun fact. Most solo home runs to begin a career since 1974. Our own Richie Dower hit 15 with Baltimore before hitting one with somebody on base. Chuck Knobloch on that list, from a Rookie of the Year with the Cubs. Jerome Walton. Here's Gary Jones, hit 11.
But the difference between, say, Knobloch, Walton, and Jones, Knobloch and Walton were leadoff hitters. Jones is supposed to be your RBI number 3-4 hole hitter.
Carlos Gonzalez with a 1-1 count. 2-run home run and a strikeout. That was a little bit hot. Program your thermostat when you're on the road with the Rockies. You can save on cooling costs if you set your thermostat to 85 degrees when you're away. Learn more energy tips at responsiblebynature.com. 2 balls and a strike on Gonzalez. Located that pitch well. Took something off.
Got a slider. He decided to throw the slider instead of another fastball. That's why you saw a little bit of the wild swing from Carlos Gonzalez.
Jones flips to Hart. 2 outs. And that'll bring up Todd Helton. 0 for 2 tonight for Todd. Riding a 16-game hitting streak, second longest of his career. Hit the ball pretty well his last time up. A line drive to left. Handled by Lasting's Millage. Jason Marquis goes tomorrow. Paul Maholm, pretty tough left-hander for Pittsburgh. That's a strike.
All kids through the gates on Sunday, August 23rd, will receive a backpack courtesy of 850 KOA and American Family Insurance. Get your tickets to this game against the San Francisco Giants at all the usual places, including ColoradoRockies.com.
1 ball, 1 strike on number 17. Started with a bang for Colorado, single and a home run, but Rockies only have 3 hits since then. That's a strike.
But I think it goes back to the point you made a few moments ago, Drew, about Kevin Hart. How he's just kind of hung around, made enough pitches when he needs to, kept the Rockies hitters off balance with some curveballs, sliders, and just enough of a 94-mile-an-hour fastball that he's been able to mix it up and hit his spots and location.
And Todd hits it in the air to left field again. So he's going to be 0 for 3, and 3 times he has hit the ball to Lasting's Millage. Rockies go quietly in the 5th. We'll go to the 6th, 3-0. Day stuff, fastball command off a little bit, but he can still dominate even if he doesn't have the full arsenal.
Well, he certainly can, Drew, and I think you just pointed out everything that I've sat there and watched up to this point. Obviously, fastball command is the thing that we're striving for, you know, as close to perfection as we can get, although you never ever do get to that point. However, if he can get there, he makes things a lot easier on himself. He made a great pitch to McCutchen after walking Hart to load the bases in the previous inning. It's all about fastball command. Everything else will work off of that. He becomes even better than what we've seen already this year and in previous seasons.
All right, Trace, I'll let you get back to work. Thanks as always.
All right, Drew.
So Lasting's Millage leading things off, to be followed by Garrett Jones and Ryan Doman. That's 2, 3, and 4 in the Pirate lineup. Baldo with a 9-9 record. And a chopper to third. Easy play for Stewart. He gathers. Has Lasting's Millage at first. That'll bring up Garrett Jones. It'll also take us to our Geico quote of the day. I love this one. Ralph Kiner. Cadillacs are down at the end of the bat in response to his home run hitter's drive. Cadillacs comment. Well, he drove a Cadillac because he get at the long ball.
Yep, the other guy's choked up on the bat. Didn't drive that nice car.
Breaking balls in there on Jones. Jones strikeout and fly ball to center field against Ubaldo Jimenez, leading all rookies in home runs. You look at this rookie class. We've talked about it a little bit with McCutchen and Dexter Fowler tonight, and now Garrett Jones enters the conversation. There's no real big rookie slugger this year in the National League. You know, we saw Evan Longoria recently, an American League player, where he's usually some rookie puts up 25 home runs,
30 home runs. Yeah.
You know, Giovanni Soto, for instance, last year did a great job behind the plate. Naturally, he was an all-star, but he had, I think, 23 home runs for the Cubs.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it. It's not the big power guys now. I mean, you look at some of them, and I don't think there'll be a guy that hits 20 this year. I mean, Garrett Jones might have an opportunity, maybe, with 12 now. Colby Rasmus, he has 11. But, I mean, that would be a hot streak to get on in the last 48, 50 games or so.
And Nate McLouth on that Pirate list, but he hasn't played for the Pirates in a while. Plays for the Atlanta Braves.
When was it? Back in June?
That was one of the early trades.
Yeah.
This is in the air to left field, pretty deep, but playable for Seth Smith. Ryan Billman's retired. That'll bring up Delwyn Young. 2 outs. Time to check in again with Alana with this evening's great Colorado payback sideline report. Alana, what do you know?
All right, Drew, thanks very much. I had a conversation with Chris Iannetta earlier today about yesterday's ball game. I said, did it stand as a wake-up call for you? He said that is the exact type of game we don't want to play, especially since we had been performing so well. To come out and do that is something we never want to do again. So I said to him, you know what, do you feel like you got all of the sloppy play out in yesterday's ball game? He said, only tonight's game will tell. They're obviously doing a good job tonight by not allowing any errors, fewer walks than yesterday's ball game. He said the only thing we can do about yesterday is put it behind us, but that is not playoff caliber style baseball. That's the one thing we need to stay away from, is beating ourselves. Drew and Huey.
And last night, Alana, was so unusual for the Rockies. The one constant with this club, they're not going to hit every night. They're going to have some days that have been unusual where they don't pitch well. There haven't been many of those. But they don't beat themselves. No, you don't see them having games like the Cubs had over the weekend.
Right, and that's the way you win. You have winning baseball. I mean, there were so many things that went wrong last night. You can make a whole laundry list of them. But the good point about it, it was one game, and it all came in the same game. I mean, you had all the walks, you had the errors, you had the 5 stolen bases against you, you had plays that you didn't make. Everything that could go wrong went wrong last night, so you just wipe it off, put a clean, fresh uniform on today, and go out and win today's ball game.
I asked Clint Varmus about that before the ball game. I said, "Is something, does the guys say anything?" That pitch misses 3-1 in the clubhouse. He said nothing needs to be said. He said, we all know that last night was subpar, and it just gives you a little more incentive to play the game like we know how to play it.
It was kind of like a Cubs hangover. There was so much buildup for those 4 games with the Cubs.
Jim, is that fair or foul? Help tried to whip it into fair territory. Foul ball. Jim Tracy was concerned about that going into last night's ball game.
Rightfully so.
And if you think about it, for those folks that stick around, and I hope you all do, for our Rockies postgame report, it's an excellent source of information. It capsulizes the ball game each night. And we always have the postgame press conference with Jim Tracy. If you think back, Huey, to Monday night, and it was a wonderful win. I mean, Tulowitzki cycled. De La Rosa had a marvelous game, fouled off. And Tracy said, listen, Tulowitzki was great. He gave him his due. De La Rosa was great. He gave him his due. He said, now we need to move on. I mean, he was already thinking about, I don't want to see this team, relish what they accomplished for too long. They can't forget there's another ball game tomorrow with a new club. Good pitch. That was a splitter. And he strikes out Delwyn Young. Garrett Jones reached on a base hit. Middle of 6. The Rockies ahead 3-0. Close play at second base. Troy Tulowitzki moving up on a wild pitch. Good throw by Ryan Doman. Tulowitzki called safe. That was a frost-brewed Coors Light freeze can, and Troy would come around to score the Rockies' third run. That was back in the fourth inning. Here's Tulowitzki leading things off in the bottom of the sixth. The story of the ball game: Ubaldo Jimenez has a shutout going, a 3-hit shutout at that. Carlos Gonzalez a 2-run home run. Clint Barmas an RBI single. Kevin Hart quietly has done a very nice job in keeping his club in this ball game. Tulowitzki hit .327 in the second half last year. He's hitting in the neighborhood of .350 this year. He's going to take a walk and regather his thoughts after that swing. 0-2 on Troy. Tulowitzki, Brad Hopp, and Ian Stewart here in the inning.
Oh, we're going to have a chance to look at some of the stuff we've been talking about with Ryan Spilborghs with hitting in 1 second, just to make sure, because you know it's really fun when you're able to talk hitting with somebody that is playing the game at the level these guys are, and they have so many ideas and different styles, and we see it every single day when we see the Rockies and the way they hit. But we're talking about how to take your hands in the barrel through the ball, how you don't want it to get work underneath, all the things that we always talk about during a broadcast, where we can actually break it down and Spilly can tell you how to do it. So make sure you tune in tomorrow, watch it tomorrow night, TiVo it, whatever you have to do to make sure that you see some of this stuff that he's going to be talking about.
A free training tape.
Free. That's the best part about it. It doesn't cost you anything other than to turn the clicker on to FSN. That's all it costs. All right?
Hosted by none other than Jeff Hughes.
Well, of course, but mainly Ryan Spilborghs, folks. That was before he shaved, though.
He's got a new look every day. 3-2 on Tulowitzki. Hart taking his time. Here we go. Full count pitch to Tulowitzki. And he rips it to left center field. And Millage lets it get under his glove. It goes all the way to the wall. Tulowitzki heading to third. He's got himself a triple. Laston's Millage is striding after the baseball. He did not realize how that ball was going to skip on the outfield grass. What should have been a single turns into a 3-base hit.
Yeah, top spin on the ball, the way he swung the bat. Caused his ball to have top spin. Got over the top of it, but kept that top hand, and then it just shot right past Lasting's Millage. The route he took to it was a very poor route, too. He went straight across instead of going back and circling around it. And then Andrew McCutcheon, the center fielder, had to come get it and then make the throw, but it wasn't even close.
7 triples now for Tulowitzki. Is that right? Say 7? I can't believe it. Yeah, 7 triples.
That is.
I said that. It didn't sound right.
It just didn't sound right.
That's a lot of triples.
That is a lot of triples.
Rockies lead the National League with 35 triples. And this ball is ripped by Hop down the right field line. Tulowitzki walks home. Brad into second with a double. And the Rockies lead it 4-0.
Well, we always talk about the third and fourth time through a lineup. What's going to happen? Well, right now you're seeing the number 4 and 5 hole hitters face Kevin Hart for the third time. And Brad's not going to miss this one from the Hyundai cam. Just drops that barrel right where that ball is going, not where it was, where it's going to be and end up. And he hits it to right field, driving in too low for a double.
Brad with his 68th RBI. And here's Ian Stewart, a double and an intentional walk tonight. Outside ball one on the 98th delivery of the evening by Kevin Hart. Triples in the National League as Joe Kerrigan's going to come out to the mound. Michael Bourne has 9. Gerardo Parra, who started the year in the minor leagues, has 8 in
Rookie of the Year
Arizona.
candidate.
Yeah, Steven Drew, his teammate, has 7. Angel Pagano of the Mets with 7. Shane Victorino of the Phillies with 7. And now that man, Troy Tulowitzki. Not that man, the other guy with 7. There's Chris Buchek, a Cowboy. Where's he from?
Have to look that one up.
He's from Cody, Wyoming.
Okay.
No, he's not, but he ought to be.
Or Austin, Texas, one of the two.
I've been waiting the whole series to say his name. 1-0 on Stewart. Hop at second. Ball and a strike. That catches the corner. It was a couple of weeks ago. I remember it vividly. Jim Tracy was asked during one of his pregame media gatherings if Troy Tulowitzki was ready to hit cleanup. And he said, you know, not yet. He goes, I like having the veteran Brad Hopp hitting behind Todd Helton. And yeah, later on in the game, you could see some left-handed relievers to face those two back-to-back. He said, but I just think Tulowitzki's not quite ready to hit in the cleanup spot. Why ask him? That's strike 3. Why ask him, you know, to go and do that? He's doing very well right now. Let's not put even more on his plate. Well, he had reason to put him in the 4-hole in one particular ball game. Worked out pretty nicely. He revisited it. Now, all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, just about every day, Troy Tulowitzki's your cleanup hitter. And how has he responded? He's hit .341 in the cleanup spot, 2 home runs, 10 RBIs, 2 doubles, 3 triples. He's hitting like a 4-hole hitter.
Yeah, I remember that day, and Jim was just kind of shaking his head. No, I'm not ready to go there just yet. But then, as you mentioned, he had to do it to break up the left-handers for a while. To have a lefty, righty, lefty again. And then it worked out, and it's really a nice mix now because you still have Helton in front. You got the power from Troy and the power from Brad.
Not to mention, you get deeper in the lineup. You have Ian Stewart. Didn't work out last at bat for Stewart. You have Barnes, who has 16 home runs, now hitting out of the 7-hole. It's always evolving. Remember the big chill? Right? It's always evolving because for a couple of months, when you looked at the Rockies lineup, one of the nice stories was Clint Barmes putting his foot down in the 2-hole.
Right.
Clint has hit a rough patch, so he's coming out of it clearly. Carlos Gonzalez all of a sudden has a nice little fit in the 2-hole lately.
Right.
2-strike pitch upcoming to Barmes.
Well, Tulo's hit everywhere from 2 to 7th this year, too.
Yeah. Including earlier in the year sitting next to the manager for a couple of ball games. If your windshield has any damage, please call Colorado's #1 team, Elite Safelite Auto Glass, 303-287-5000, online at safelight.com. 1 out, Brad Hopp, who doubled in. Troy Tulowitzki at second base. Hard on the ground, just foul. 6th inning has been big advantage Colorado Rockies this year. They've outscored the opposition 83-39. 83-39 in the 6th inning in 2009. They're up 4-0 here in the 6th inning tonight. And a line drive to left. Hop had to wait. See if the line drive would get through. It does. The throw's going to go to second, and safe there is Barmes as Brad Hopp scores the Rockies' 5th run. Pretty nifty piece of hitting there by Clint Barmes, who has his 2nd ribby of the night and a new career high with 57 driven in.
And both times he was able to stay back onto the break-in pitch. To stay back enough so he could make sure that he kept his hands there to drive it over the head of LaRoche down the left field line. That ball stayed inside a little bit more than the other one, and Brad had to wait just for a second like you do. You freeze on the line drive, the ball in front of you, but Lassing's millage average to below average arm at best, and so Richie Dower waves him in. Clint Barmes with the double, and John Russell had to go to his bullpen.
So Kevin Hart is gone after 5 1/3. The Rockies lead it 5-0. Rockies up 5-0 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Clint Barmes with an RBI double a moment ago. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 800-COMCAST. Chris Buchek will take over. He's not from Cody, Wyoming. He's not from Austin, Texas. He's from LaPorte, Indiana.
Former graduate of Auburn University. Just came up a while back on Friday from Indianapolis, where he had 20 saves for them, which was 2nd in the International League. Buchek fastball slider. That's the only 2 pitches he sports out there. Formerly pitched in the major leagues with the Angels in 03, 05, and 08.
Inside on Chris Iannetta. Iannetta's 0 for 2. Fly ball to center, a fly ball to right. And that slider misses. 2-0. Chris would be sitting dead red here. Buchek, 6'5", right-hander. #1 pick of the Angels back in 2000 out of Auburn. And he fired at a fastball that wore in on his hands.
One of those minor league free agents that a lot of organizations will stack down in AAA in case something happens. They need a guy that has a little bit of experience to come up and help them out.
Good swing. Buchek has an interesting background. His father, Dan, was a pitcher in the Tigers organization and taught him how to pitch. He was a pretty good basketball player. He was a forward on the LaPorte High School basketball team that ended up going to the Final Four of Hoosier hysteria.
Yeah, you're saying Indiana basketball.
Indiana basketball. 3-2. And they mix all classifications. As we all know, or I should say all those people that saw Hoosiers. Clint Barnes knows all about that. He's a former Hoosier basketball player. And Buchek strikes out Chris Iannetta. 2 outs. That'll bring up Ubaldo Jimenez.
Don't forget, Coors Field's a great place for group outings. Groups of 25 or more receive discounted pricing, scoreboard recognition, and other great benefits. Call 303 Rockies for more information.
Aldo's grounded out twice.
He needs a hit to get that average back up to over 250. He gets swing at that fastball. Buchek got it up there to 95 miles an hour, that pitch.
According to the scouting report, he worked right about 94.
There's your 94.
Yeah. Here's the 2-1. Aldo got up that line. He smelled another hit.
Yep. So if my average had fallen down to 238, I needed to get it back up above 250. That's just a swinging bunt. Hits right out in front of home plate. And had that rotation where it just went foul. Ryan Dolan picked it up. But Ubaldo, by the time he stopped, he was about 30 feet past first base.
Speaking of Hoosier basketball, remember a few years ago, J.D. Klosser, when he was with the Rockies, he's another guy who played basketball growing up in Indiana. He and Barnes used to always talk about the various high school teams in their state.
Kind of a given if you grow up in Indiana, isn't it?
You got to play. Kind of like in Texas, you got to play football. 2-2. 3-2.
Minnesota, you got to play hockey.
You'd say in Canada, the whole country had to play hockey, though Jeff Francis
dispelled that one.
Yeah, he dispelled that theory. Likes hockey. He's a baseball player. Buchek strikes out. Ubaldo Jimenez and Chris Iannetta after coming in. The Rockies have a very productive inning. A couple of runs on 3 extra base hits. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Rockies up 5-0 as we turn the page to inning number 7 with Jeff Houston and Alana Rizzo. I'm Drew Goodman. Ubaldo has allowed 3 hits. He's allowed more walks than hits. 4 of those. He's got 4 punch-outs. Andy LaRoche to lead it off. He takes a fastball high, ball 1. That's the 89th pitch of the night for Jimenez. And for the 20th straight start. Ooh. Oh, ouch. That doesn't feel good. No. He has gone at least 6 innings.
That's pretty impressive. I don't care how hard you throw, whatever it is. 20 consecutive starts of 6 innings or plus. But ouch, right in the ribs.
Yeah, that's going to leave a mark because there's not a lot of padding there.
Nope.
Hopefully it was more of a glancing blow.
Even a glancing blow at 93, 95 miles an hour still hurts.
Brandon Moss has 2 of the 3 hits tonight for Pittsburgh. Giants again earlier beat the Dodgers 4-2. The Rockies can hang on. They'll be 5.5 behind the Dodgers beginning play tomorrow. Slider, strike 2.
Stay up in the wild card. Florida lost. We just saw Houston beat them, so you get a little separation there.
They beat him pretty good, 14-6.
Well, they had them last night. Was it 8-3 or something like that? They ended up coming back and winning in extra innings.
One and 2 on Moss. 2-2. Jeff Karsten's the former Yankee, tossing in the Pittsburgh bullpen. 3-2. Boy, Jimenez, not for me to break down mechanics of the pitcher, but you can see him fall off dramatically to the first base side.
Right, that's called running away from your arm, where you take your head and your body and go towards first base and run away from where you want to throw the ball.
Stayed on line that time and struck out Brandon Moss.
Well, you can just see the look on Ubaldo's face, even with that strikeout. Yeah, I mean, he's happy, obviously, that he got the strikeout. And the Hyundai cam just says, you know what, I'm going to have to throw a 4-seamer with a little bit of tail on it at the last second. But you just see the look on his face where he's just not, you know what, I got to be a little bit more sharp here, even though I've thrown 96 pitches.
Strike on Ronnie Cedeno.
Ramon Vasquez has grabbed a bat on deck circle for the pitcher spot.
And a ground ball to short. Tulowitzki's going to go to first. Two outs. And Ramon Vasquez, as you just heard Jeff Houston mention, will be the pinch hitter. There are only 6 days left for the Rocky Mountain Raffle second early prize drawing. The entry deadline is August 17th. And all benefits the Boys and Girls Clubs. Go to RockyMountainHomeRaffle.com and sign up for your chance to win $10,000. So a guy who has seen the sights of big league baseball for a while, Ramon Vasquez, into pinch hit.
Done a lot of pinch hitting this year for the Pirates. 7 for 24.
And that's in there for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And another strike. That was a changeup, though. a handful of change-ups, maybe a slide or something that would get a better look out of the hand, see what it was. Yeah, it was a split. So I don't think it had that slider rotation on it.
And he'll throw a handful or so of those a game. The split finger.
Yeah, sometimes they'll push it through the hand to get a little bit more downward action on it. That one was more like use it as a changeup.
He might go to it again. He did. He strikes out Vasquez with a splitter. That is strikeout number 6 on the night for Ubaldo Jimenez. He's through 7. 5-0 Colorado. Stretch time. Colorado Rockies baseball on FSN is brought to you by Bird Auto. To find great deals on used cars, visit ColoradoWheelsOnline.com or pick up a magazine at over 200 locations. By the Great Colorado Payback, reuniting you with your money. And by the Courtyard by Marriott on the 16th Street Mall. Ask about our hometown sports package. Rockies up 5-0 in Lodo. And in the bottom of the 7th inning, it'll be the top of the order. Seth Smith, Carlos Gonzalez, Todd Helton. Smith tonight 1 for 3 and a run scored. Takes strike 1 from Chris Butchek in relief of Kevin Hart, who gave up 5 runs in 5 1/3 innings. Oh, excuse me, Jeff Karstens is in. Of course, we have Vasquez pinch hit last inning, so Karstens for Butchek.
You mentioned Karstens coming over from the Yankees, came over with Ohlendorf and McCutchen. And the Xavier Nady deal.
This is poked to left. Laskins Millage makes the catch. 1 out, and that'll bring up Gonzalez, who had a 2-run home run in the first inning to get the Rockies off to a good start.
Well, and it was an important start for me because you think back to last night's ball game, you let Pittsburgh jump out on you a little bit, tried to recover, and just felt like you were battling uphill. Well, tonight you get that early 2-run lead, and now you make them feel like they have to battle uphill against a guy like Ubaldo. Not an easy task.
$29,430 in the house tonight. Karstens misses away there. It's 1-1 on Gonzalez. And that's off the end of the bat. Easy play for LaRoche. Todd Helton with a 16-game hitting streak, which is tied for the longest in the league with Eugenio Velez, surprisingly, the San Francisco Giants. Helton trying to match his uniform number. He's hit 16 straight. And he takes a curveball from Karstens.
How about that? 17, 16, 3 14-game hit streaks.
There have been 3 streaks of longer than 17 games this year. Ryan Zimmerman, remember early on, had a 30-game streak for the Nationals. Derek Lee had a 21-game streak. 2-1. Justin Upton had an 18-game hitting streak. And Orlando Hudson, Miguel Tejada, Aaron Rowan, each with 17 gamers. 3-1. Karsten missed away with the curveball.
Might be one of the few times you can see Todd maybe expand the zone just a little bit. Nope.
No. Ball 4.
I just thought maybe with the 5-0 lead, bottom of the 7th inning. He's never been one about himself, though.
No, it's just not him.
No, it's just not his nature.
It's not his nature. It's probably the farthest thing from his mind. He's trying to grind out every at-bat, as he always does, trying to help his club win. Here's Tulowitzki. 2 for 3 tonight. Single and a triple. 2 runs scored. Doug Marino did a little research for us. Wondering how many guys who play shortstop are hitting cleanup in baseball right now. The only other guy to hit in the cleanup spot a significant amount of time this year, Stephen Drew of Arizona. They've been riddled with injuries. Guys have been unproductive, a lot of guys other than Upton and Reynolds. Stephen Drew has 111 at-bats in the 4-hole. Tulowitzki 41 at-bats, but all of those over the last week and a half or so.
I think for Stephen Drew, it goes back to your point. They've had so many injuries. They just trying to find somebody to fill into that spot to maybe drive in some runs. It wasn't a case of, oh, here's a pretty good hitter, let's fire him into the 4-hole.
Yeah.
Different scenarios.
See, Tulowitzki profiles for me, anywhere in that 4-5 range. An RBI, he's a run producer. I mean, and he can hit a lot of home runs. Stephen Drew's a tremendous hitter. He's more of a to me, a 3-hole hitter, not really a 4-hole. He's going to hit some home runs. Strike 3. Tulowitzki knew it. Karstens made a good pitch. So Helton walks, and he's 0 for 3 in the ball game. As we go to the 8th inning, the Rockies and Ubaldo Jimenez will take a 5-0 lead to that point. That zipped over the outside corner for a strike. Andrew McCutchen leading things off in the 8th inning for the Pirates. That was pitch number 104 for Jimenez. That slider's down low. It's 1-1. Jimenez 7 shutout innings. Rockies lead it 5-0. That's dirty. 98 miles an hour on the block with about 8 inches of tail and sink.
On your 106th pitch, too. I mean, there's nothing McCutchen can do other than look at it, turn back to the umpire and say, that's a good pitch.
Yeah. Since he arrived in the big leagues, Ubaldo Jimenez has made more starts than every other pitcher in the game, save one. CC Sabathia.
See ya.
See ya. Huh? Guess not.
Maybe it was too hard.
Had McCutchen not swing at this?
Well, I don't know. Maybe because he tried to earlier and grounded out a couple different times on it. Maybe that's why he didn't do it. Grounded out to Ian Stewart in the 1st and to Troy in the 5th, trying to swing at that pitch.
In the air to center field. Easy play for Gonzalez. Well, it's coming. It's not far away. The Rocky Mountain Showdown, September 6th at 5 p.m. Colorado State from Boulder. We will have it for you right here on FSN Rocky Mountain. I can hardly wait. Steve Fairchild's going to break in a new quarterback. Dan Hawkins has to decide between his son Cody or Tyler Hanson, maybe both, as they did a fair amount of time last year. Colorado has an enormous, and I mean underline enormous, offensive line.
Well, like 6'8", 6'7", 6'9".
Yeah.
3 Bills.
3+. Yeah, if you're 6'7", you're the shrimp.
How'd you like to be the quarterback trying to look around those guys to hit a receiver downfield?
Here's the 0-2 on Millage, and it's punched to second. Good play by Barnes. Yeah, in all seriousness, that was an issue at times last year, especially for Cody Hawkins, trying to find a window to throw the football, because he's basically 5'11 and a half.
Yeah, just what do you do? Kind of go in between the skyscrapers there and look for an opening? Absolutely.
It's the only way you can. You're not going to throw over the top. 2 outs, nobody on. Garrett Jones at the plate. Ubaldo's throwing this inning like he realizes that fastball at 99. Now I'm guessing that this will be it for him. He's at 114 pitches. As Frage likes to say, smelling the barn.
Well, another thing you need to do, though, guarantee your opportunity to purchase 2009 postseason tickets, or to make a 2010 season ticket deposit or purchase a stretch run ticket package today. Now accepting $250 per seat deposit for the 2010 season. The stretch run package has all the remaining games this season at a discounted price, but it's a limited time offer. Offer ends August 31st. Call 303-ROCKIES or to go to Coors Field Ticket Office today to guarantee your opportunity to purchase 2009 postseason tickets.
Two balls and a strike on Jones. 1 for 3 tonight. How much of a factor is that 99-mile-an-hour heater was chopped foul? How much of a factor is it with Jimenez for the opposition that, yeah, he's got ridiculously good stuff, but the command is not super sharp? I mean, he may uncork one by accident that goes under your chin.
Well, that's scary because you don't go into the box and feel very comfortable at all. I mean, when you go into a box, you want to feel like you have an opportunity to hit the ball. You're going to hit it hard, even if he throws hard. But when you're not quite sure if it's going to be inside, outside, you can't look location, you don't dig in quite as deep.
Here's the 3-2. And it's popped up left side, foul ground and playable for Ian Stewart. Great inning for Ubaldo Jimenez, one of his best of the night. 118 pitches, 8 innings of shutout baseball. Stand up and applaud. That arm, Tommy Runnels, the bench coach, giving him a high five. What a performance by Ubaldo tonight. First pitch to Brad Hopp in the bottom of the 8th inning. Misses ball 1 from Jeff Karstens. Hopp an RBI double in the 6th inning. He's 1 for 3. So Ubaldo goes 8 shutout innings. Allows just 3 hits and strikes out a half dozen.
And he made pitches when he had to. I even go back to that first inning when they tried to steal Lassing's Millage. Was able to strike out Garrett Jones, gets to strike him out, throw him out in that first inning.
2-2.
Double play, and then you think back to the 5th inning when he walked the pitcher. You got the fast guy McCutchen, and then first pitch, Troy makes the play, throws McCutchen out at first base.
And Karstens strikes out Brad Hopp. Here's today's Mercedes-Benz E-Class Attention Assist of the game. Ground ball, slowly hit. Troy Tulowitzki with McCutchen running. You got to go quick, and he does. On the move and flips it across the diamond to Todd Helton. Brought to you by the Mercedes-Benz. You must experience the amazing new E-Class. Stewart takes a strike, double, walk, strikeout for Yin tonight. Pitch is high. The Rockies get 3 more outs. Ubaldo Jimenez will have his 10th win of the season, and he'll become the 4th Rockies starter with 10+ wins this year. The only other time the Rockies have had 4 pitchers with 10+ wins, the year 2000.
And the other thing too, it would be 4-0 since the All-Star break.
4-0 since the All-Star break. The 4 in 2000 that won at least 10. Pedro Estacio went 12-9. Brian Bohannon went 12-10. Julian Taveras, spot starter, worked out of the bullpen primarily, went 11-5. And Gabe White, you were still playing, but Gabe White that year out of the pen, every time he came in, he was unhittable. And he went 11-2. But the Rockies will have Cook, Marquis, De La Rosa, and in all likelihood, Jimenez, 4 starters. And another note as Stewart goes down to first. Yesterday, with Aaron Cook being pushed back and the Rockies forced to go with the kid, Yolis Chacin, it was the first time since April 21st, when Franklin Morales made a start, that somebody other than Cook, Marquis, De La Rosa, Jimenez, or Hamill made a start for the Rockies. And since that time, the starters are 45-30, looking at 46-30, with an ERA of 3.7.
Yeah, so during the whole year, you've only used 7 starters.
Something else.
7. Only the Atlanta Braves in the National League, I mean, they're tied with them at 7. The Rays over in the American League have only used 6 starters. But how many times you look around and it's a spot start here for a club or here? Next thing you know, you've used 12, 13 starters.
That's down the line, and it's underneath the glove of a diving Andy LaRoche. It'll be another base hit for Vargas. He's got himself a 3-hit night.
Well, and the good thing about this, too, is another off-speed pitch where he's able to stay on it, stay through it. Even though he got out a little bit on that front side, kept the hands back long enough, flicked the bat at the last second, and pulled the ball down the line. That head stays on there okay, and LaRoche tried to make a gallant effort to dive and stop it to keep it from going down in the corner and just knocked it down enough. But even if he catches that ball, he's not going to be able to throw out Clint.
And what he did do is he saved the double.
Yep. Hey, follow the Colorado Rockies on your iPhone and iPod Touch with MLB.com at Bat 2009, featuring play-by-play, real-time box scores, and video highlights. Visit ColoradoRockies.com on your iPhone or iPod Touch to purchase today.
And this is lined in the gap by Chris Iannetta, and it'll run all the way to the wall. Stewart has scored. Vargas will score. A 2-run double for Iannetta. $7-0 Colorado. Eat well tomorrow at Taco Bell.
Chris has been working hard, not trying to dive too much towards the plate where you get closed off. And that time he stayed a little bit more square towards the pitcher and is able to use those hands better. And another ball that had topspin on it, it just chased into the gap. All last thing Millers can do is pick it up, get it back in.
Spilborgh's pinch hitting for Jimenez. Waves at the first delivery at strike 1. This ball driven to deep left field. Millage going back, and it short hops the wall. In comes Iannetta. Spilborgh's to second. Back-to-back doubles. It's 8-0. Rockies blowing it wide open here in the bottom of the 8th. Helping to erase the memory of 24 hours ago.
Well, 5th RBI now for Ryan Spilborghs as a pinch hitter. Monday cam shows that was supposed to be another breaking pitch that Karsten's left up into the zone, and Spilly does what you're supposed to do to a ball like that at this level, hit it into the gap.
Seth Smith at the plate with 1 out. And this is foul back. And you know what I'm thinking right now, Jeff Houston? That guy with the helmet on behind Keith Duggar, the Rockies trainer, and Ian Stewart. He may get another chance to keep the hitting streak alive. He's 0 for 3 in a walk, but he's 2 doors down with 1 out.
It didn't look like that was going to happen after the 7th inning. Just need one of these 2 next guys, either Seth or Carlos Gonzalez, to get on base and give Todd another chance.
And I think with long hitting streaks, there's always stories like this. You know, you go back and look at DiMaggio's 56 games. You know, Todd's 16 pales in comparison, obviously, but you know, the 44 games that Pete Rose hit in guarantee there was some last at bat hits and maybe last at bats that you didn't think you were going to get.
Right. And there's always some luck involved some way, somehow. There has to be. I mean, a lot of skill, obviously, but there's some luck involved to keep hitting streaks alive. And you hear it a lot of times where, oh, a guy got a hit in the 8th or 9th inning just to keep that streak alive.
Here's the 1-2 again on Smith. 2-2. Once again, the Rockies have hit that magic number of 7. They now have 8 runs, and anytime they score 7 or more, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6. Feed your fever with 4 tacos for $1. Check all the stores for more details. Eight nothing Rockies. Kevin Hart, the pitcher of record for the Pirates. Ubaldo Jimenez, the pitcher of record. There he is. Now he's got the sweatshirt on, pitcher of record for Colorado.
He'll be the first one here tomorrow, already starting and preparing for his next start.
This ball's driven foul down the left field line.
But this is what you needed to do. You needed to come back out after last night's clunker and come back out, score a lot of runs again, and have fun.
Absolutely. See, Ubaldo's sitting next to you, talking about working out. Brian Jordan's the Rockies strength and conditioning coach, does a marvelous job, and Ubaldo spends a lot of time with Brian. Smith is out by a step at first, so it's up to Carlos Gonzalez now to get Todd Helton one more shot to keep the hitting streak going.
I've been talking about that workout with the ball, though, and Brian Jordan, and to me that's why he's able to go 6-7 innings every single time he goes out there, because pitchers have to have their legs underneath them, and as much running and weightlifting that Ubaldo does on those legs, they're strong.
He is bigger and stronger than he was in spring training, and he was in phenomenal shape in spring training. He works his tail off.
Talk about pressure in an 8-0 ball game. Carlos Gonzalez has a little bit right now because he knows that the guy behind him has a hitting streak on the line.
Gets away, and his billboards in a different part of this game would have moved up.
Yes.
Not there, not with the 8-run lead late. How often do guys know when, now obviously the guy's got a 30-game hitting streak. Do you think Carlos realizes he's got a 16-game hitting streak?
Yeah, they know down there in the dugout in the clubhouse, especially with a guy like Todd Stature, because you watch your leader a lot and you know what he's got going on.
1-2.
On the bat with the donut on there to make sure that those forearms stay strong.
Karstens just missed there. 2-2. And it's pulled to second, and Helton's not going to get an opportunity. The Rockies get 3 runs in the inning to take an 8-0 lead to the 9th. Rockies up 8-0, looking for 3 more outs, and then we'll be hunting Tom Helmer down to get him to host the Rockies postgame report. Oh, there he is.
I'm going to be hunting you guys down because I heard you have 2 oscillating fans up there. If you do, we want one of them.
They're not even on tonight.
You know what? We didn't even put them out tonight.
All right, we'll just be flop sweating out here. We'll be talking about Ubaldo Jimenez getting over the 500 mark and what that means for him, and also high five. We'll tell you something Carlos Gonzalez and Matt Holliday have in common that may surprise you. It's coming up right after the game. Drew?
Sounds like a plan. Thank you very much, Tom. Ryan Spilborn stays in the ballgame in left field. Seth Smith checks out. And handling the 9th inning in terms of pitching, that would be Franklin Morales, good friend of Ubaldo Jimenez. His call to the bullpen brought to you by Comcast. Call 1-800-COMCAST.
Well, last time Franklin was in was on Sunday against the Chicago Cubs. Gave up 5 hits in that ballgame, which has been unusual for Franklin coming out of the pen this year.
Ryan Domitz flips around to the right side. He takes a strike.
Well, as a right-handed hitter this year, Domit hit 268, 0 home runs, only 4 RBIs. Whoa. Big sweeping curveball.
Here's the 0-2. See you later. Morales punches out Domit. That'll bring up Delwyn Young. And we check in again with Alana Rizzo. Hey, Alana.
Hey, Drew, thanks very much. Franklin Morales getting the nod here. Adam Eaton will have to wait to make his Colorado Rockies Major League debut. A quick backstory on him. 9 years ago, on May 29th of 2000, he got his Major League debut with the San Diego Padres. Almost 9 years to the day, he was able to get an agreement with the Colorado Rockies on May 28th of this year. He sent his family a text that said, agreed to Colorado, heading to AAA Colorado Springs on Saturday. That was on May 29th. Then today, he sent his family a text. I got to see the iPhone, and he said, the kid's back in the show. So Adam Eaton obviously excited to be back in the big leagues with the Rocks, guys.
You know what? It's always good to be in the big leagues, Huey. You went back and forth a couple times.
Oh, yeah. It's always nice when you're giving the phone call the other way.
Andy LaRoche at the plate after the base hit by Delwyn Young. LaRoche, a fly ball to center field, a walk, and then he was hit in the ribs by Ubaldo Jimenez. 1-0 on Andy. And he pops it up to left center field. Spilborn's calling for it. That is the second out. And the crowd will stand as Brandon Moss comes up. Tonight's delivery of the game brought to you by Jimmy John's. Ubaldo Jimenez, once again, very, very good. 8 innings of shutout baseball. He allowed just 3 hits. He struck out a half dozen as well. Walked 4, hit a batter. Tonight's delivery of the game brought to you by Jimmy John's. Ubaldo Jimenez. Franklin Morales misses ball 1 on Brandon Moss.
Put a fastball in there, see what he can do, Franklin. Let's go.
Fouled off. And it's 2-2. Rockies record that final out. They'll be 5.5 games behind the Dodgers in the West. And they'll move 2 games. No, excuse me, they'll remain 1 game in front of the Giants. with the wild card.
Again, get another game on Florida.
Who lost tonight? Yep.
Cubs lost tonight.
Foul ball. It sounded like a broken bat.
Checking it. I tap it on the plate. Sometimes you can't hear it when you just tap it on the dirt.
He shrugged as if, you know what?
So what?
I'm sure he didn't mean that. No. Here's the 3-2, and that's way outside. So 2 on for Ronnie Cedeno. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Colorado Rockies. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Colorado Rockies. Cedeno tonight 0 for 3. He's hit the ball at Troy Tulowitzki 3 times. So somebody out there is yelling, "Come your way 3 times tonight." Fouled off, 0-1.
You hear that at the Little League parks all the time. But you know it also as a shortstop. He's come to you, so be ready.
Tulowitzki's made just 6 errors all year. 0-2. Another very nice crowd at Coors Field, just under 30,000. And they've seen a splendid performance. Plenty of offense, plenty of good pitching from the man you just saw, Ubaldo Jimenez. Dominant pitching. And it's all over. Morales strikes out 2 in the 9th. And the Rockies bounce back and beat the Pirates in shutout fashion 8-0. Their 7th shutout of the year. The club record is 8, set on 4 occasions, including last year. Ubaldo Jimenez gets the victory. He's now 10-9. The loss goes to Kevin Hart. He falls to 3-2. So the Rockies win it 8-0 as they pound out 11 hits. So a lot of positives to talk about coming up on the postgame report right after this.